Blizzard is finally fixing WoW's unfair loot. That's right, the Great Vault is finally going to be fair. Now, I've already talked about a bunch of these changes coming. Some of the changes with raiding and how you're going to get a tier higher out of your raid loot in the vault, which is awesome. I think that finally makes raiding comparable to Mythic Plusing again, where honestly, right now, if you wanted to grind out gear and you wanted to get geared as fuck, Mythic Plus is the way to go. Everybody knows that, which kind of eliminated some of the best end game that exists in WoW, which is raiding to me. It's always been raiding. That's the true end game of any MMO. Let's get into this video real quick here from Bellular and see how Blizzard has fixed WoW's unfair loot.
Blizzard's clearly trying to fix a problem where the most expensive type of content that they make is not really rewarded by how their game works. So, let's get into the video. For the last few patches, Mythic Plus players have been getting heaps and heaps of powerful gear, all while us poor raiders end up fighting over scraps.
Yep.
Well, in 12.1, Blizzard are finally trying to close that gap. And I think that's about as close as they'll get to admitting that raiders were right, that there was a problem. But the fix has been a little contentious. It may have caused a few crash outs. And if you thought gearing's been getting a bit too complicated lately, well, I agree, but also, I've got bad news. 12.1 is adding a little more to the pile. Though on the bright side, a massive scare that we all had in PTR was just a scare. Because it turns out crest costs are not going to scale after all.
Thank God. If you don't know what this was, it was basically every item level that you upgrade, every crest level, you go from, say, 1 of 6 heroic to 2 of 6 heroic to 3 of 6 heroic. Every time you go up, it was going to cost you more crests, which was a fucking ridiculous system. It was going to be crazy to go from like 5 of 6 to 6 of 6. So thankfully, that was just the thing they had in there, I guess, as a placeholder or something, because it's still going to be the normal 20 crests or whatever. It gets you to the next item level. Perfect. Keep it the way it is, Blizzard. Please don't fuck that up.
And that means this season is promising to be almost as speedy as the last one.
Pre-watch 100%.
So,
Jesus.
Just how bad is the gap then?
I had no internet for a week. How the fuck did I pre-watch this? I'm sorry. I'm not gonna get fucking, triggered. All right. I'm not gonna let it happen. I did not pre-watch.
How bad is the problem between Mythic Plusers and Raiders, and why are Blizzard trying to fix it? I think the easiest way is to just show you. Our guild's been running into the same issue for a while now. On our slow march to getting curve, we don't impose any rules on item level. So some of us go straight into Mythic Plus, which causes a problem. We completely outgear the raid, or at least some of us do.
Yeah.
Other players do little more than delves and prey. But even with that, they still end up pretty decked out in hero gear before long, and that leads to a problem. Raid drops are so pitiful by comparison that we end up not needing most of them, and that ends up being the case weeks before we actually clear the raid.
Yeah, some people think I'm complaining about the fact that, people are gearing out too fast. No, I don't care about people gearing out too fast. I think that's fine. If you want to play this game like a fucking degen and gear out like crazy in the first week and then basically outgear some of the heroic raid already, that's fine. You could do that. Run your Mythic Plus to your heart's desire. What I don't like and what I've complained about for a while now is somebody who logs onto this game and raids and puts in the same amount of hours as somebody who Mythic Plus is, the raider's going to fall behind like by a massive margin, because they're not going to get as many crests. They're going to fall behind in terms of loot. Their vault is not going to be as good because they're not going to have as many vault slots with as high of item level, because pushing a higher key is easier than getting into Mythic raid. So you just fall behind. Mythic Plusers are just going to fucking run circles around you. So I just said it's got to at least be comparable. The way raid gear works right now is it's just way too, it takes way too long and it's too hard to gear out through raid. And it like forces you into Mythic Plus to really keep up with the Joneses. So that's what my main complaint has been. Not that it's too quick. Make it quick. I don't give a shit.
And it ends up being that the only real way for us to get stronger is to split off and do even more Mythic Plus, because that gives you Myth Crests and Myth Gear bonus rolls. And there's no arguing about it. Mythic Plus is the best way to gear in WoW, and it's not remotely close. For the low cost of half an hour, you can hit up a +10 to get Myth Gear in your vault, a bonus roll on Myth Gear right now, because you can spend your Void Core, and a chance at Hero Gear, and of course a stack of Hero and Myth Crests.
The Void Core bonus roll was another thing they were kind of fucking over raiders on, because you had to use 2 charges of it to do a bonus roll in raid. Why? Why? I guess because there's a lot of biz gear coming from raid, but still, I mean, you're fucking over raiders again. So they're getting rid of that, which is good. That's another good thing. Just even it out. Thank you, Blizzard. Make it even. That's all we ask. Yeah. Hey, Sam, welcome back. How was the holiday? It was great. It was great. The vacation was awesome. Thank you. Thank you guys for an amazing June in terms of subs and everything, too. That was awesome just to kind of lead into the vacation with. So I appreciate that a lot.
And
It
even
was a fun
accounting
vacation.
for grouping and traveling time, it still beats the hell out of raiding for gear. And honestly, that's a bit weird, and it really shouldn't be the case. Even accounting for grouping and travel time, it still beats the hell out of raiding. Mythic Raid is infinitely harder than a simple Mythic Plus 10,
Oh, yeah.
but it's the only other source of myth gear in the game. Or at least it was. And that is because raiding is getting a glow up. And some Mythic Plus players have been utterly furious about it.
Why? Why you bitching? They're not nerfing Mythic Plus. They're just buffing rating. I don't understand people. They look at somebody else and they're like, why is things getting easier for him? That makes me angry. And that's like literally not affecting them in any way. But they're going to bitch about it. People love to bitch. That's what I think it is. We're just a bitching society.
Here's the big change.
Leave it at that.
In patch 12.1, raid gear from the Great Vault is going up by an entire tier. LFR slots will drop as champion, normal as hero, and heroic as myth.
Hell yeah.
Now, Mythic Raid will still leave myth gear in your vault, but it'll come maxed out at myth 6
Awesome.
out of 6, saving you loads of crests. Now, for us heroic raiders, this is absolutely massive. It is
massive.
effectively a slow drip feed of myth gear, and most importantly, it's a reason to actually care about our Great Vaults. So if this all seems good, you may be wondering.
Yeah, it makes the Great Vault even more exciting because yes, when you're doing heroic raid, you're going to get heroic gear dropping from the bosses, which is fine. That's expected. But what makes it exciting is it changes the vault instead of just being like a hey, well, I didn't get what I wanted. Maybe I'll get it from the vault. Oh, thank you, vault, for these 3 shitty trinkets. I actually didn't get anything. Instead, it changes it to, hey, I didn't get anything I wanted from raid, but hey, I'm going to get a mythic piece of gear from the vault. So that's going to be great no matter really what it is. Yes, it could still be a shitty trinket, but odds are you're going to get an upgrade from your vault because this is going to be myth track gear and you're getting heroic gear from the raid. So this is going to be like every week your one piece that you're going to get to replace something with. It just makes the vault that much more exciting.
Wondering,
especially for raiders.
Why are some Mythic Plus players mad? Why have a few people been crashing out? Well, some are just upset that raiders are getting a buff to their gear. Sour grapes. So basically, that can be ignored. Others, though, have actually got a pretty good reason to be upset. You see, for the past while, the best Mythic Plus players haven't needed to be the best raiders as well. But that may be about to change. You see, Mythic raiding helps get gear faster, and some raid trinkets are usually best in slot, but you can usually get those without the disproportionately difficult final 2 bosses. Now in patch 12.1, that is changing, where the last 2 bosses on Mythic will drop gear at myth 9 out of 6. Yes,
Damn.
9 out of 6, so an item level that you cannot upgrade that gear to. That gear will be the best gear in the game, and you won't be able to get it anywhere else, and it's a whole 10 item levels above the next best. So, unless you're a cutting-edge raider, you will never be best.
Oh, no. Cry me a fucking river. Oh, bitch, 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 bitch. That's what they're going to... Who cares? Who cares? Oh, you're not going to get to that. You're not... By the way, this is like freaking 2 item slots probably. So that 10 item levels in those 2 item slots is going to boost your item level overall by like 2. So you're upset by that? By the way, raiders have always had to Mythic Plus, but Mythic Plusers haven't had to raid. And you don't have to do anything. You're fucking crying about 2 item levels basically overall on your slots. That's what you're bitching about? And if you really, instead of bitching, man the fuck up and go do it. If you really want to be the best of the best, then go do the hardest content in the game. You know what the hardest content in the game is? It's the freaking final 2 bosses in Mythic Raid. It should give you the best gear. So who cares? If you're not good enough to do it, then you shouldn't have the best shit. And if you are good enough to do it, well, congratulations, you're about to get the best shit. And you're still going to be only like 2 item levels higher than everybody else who's maxing out their keys and stuff. So who cares? At the end of the day, those 2 item levels don't really make a big difference. It's not going to be a huge difference. But, you know, people going to cry, people going to whine, people going to finger pop themselves to sleep every night. I don't know what to say about it. There's always people bitching.
Slot. Now, on the one hand, it adds prestige to the cutting edge. You've finally got exclusive gear as a reward for your incredible achievement. And I'm happy to call it that, because goddamn that's hard content. But on the other hand, it is a giant sword hanging over the head of people who just like to push keys. Forever and ever and ever. I'll never understand it, but you guys do you. But some of the hypothetical worries do make sense. Maybe you would have timed that key if you and your group had that myth 9 out of 6 gear.
Yeah.
But hey, you'll never know unless you dedicate hundreds of hours to mythic raiding.
Right.
That's a pretty big ask, so I get why those people are upset.
He's being sarcastic, obviously. It's not going to make a fucking difference. Get good, bitch. How about that?
I get the reaction. But you know what? That's a hypothetical problem, and it's got to be measured against, I think, the pretty obvious benefits and the pretty obvious problem that is finally being solved. So, outside of the dizzying heights of the cutting edge, what we see is plain excellent news. And I've barely started. Patch 12.1 is changing, as an example, what a world boss is, where instead of just a big guy causing lag out in the world, they've been shifted into these things called layers, and layers will be their own instance. And because it's effectively an instanced raid boss, Blizzard can add difficulty settings. Those settings range from world all the way up to mythic. And of course, because it has difficulty settings, it drops gear to match. And that actually means more sources of raid gear. Now, it's technically not a big change for patch 12.1 since we had the bonus 1 boss raid in 1207, but still, it does set a precedent going forward.
Yeah, you're basically going to get a bunch of Spore Falls throughout the season. Now, Spore Fall raid, though, drops like the best item level gear right now, and these world boss, instanced world bosses won't give you the best item level gear, but they will give you good gear. Like, at least it makes the world boss last longer than fucking 2 days, which is what, right now, like, when a patch drops and there's a new world boss, he's like the first 2 days people do it, and that's about it. Maybe the first 2 weeks after reset, they do it again one more time, but it just becomes obsolete and stupid. Nobody gets into that shit anymore. At least it'll keep them relevant for a little while.
Pretty good one. And speaking of bonuses...
Also another great piece of gear for like the delvers out there and shit who don't want to get into raid really, or don't Mythic Plus. They just want to, and Greg from accounting just want to run his delves. Well, hey, now he can also run a world boss. Why not?
Blizzard have one final way to redress the balance. Bonus roll costs will actually make sense in patch 12.1. Instead of raid gear costing 2 rolls for 1 piece, it's only going to take 1. Which is a colossal buff to raid gearing, especially if you've, say, been unlucky fishing for the item that you want. Though bonus rolling in heroic difficulty will of course still only give you hero items, while a plus 10, despite being way easier than that, will give you myth. That's a little awkward. Maybe Blizzard will try to make plus 10s a little bit harder next time so that it makes sense, but fairly big change.
I actually think they're going to be easier in the next season. Blizzard keeps removing casters from the new dungeons and stuff that we're going to get, so these dungeons it's going to be another easy season, which, hey, I'm all good with that too. Make it easy.
In case it wasn't obvious already, bonus rolls are actually staying for patch 12.1, and better yet, they are going to be here from the start. Technically. Blizzard are basically adding them to the Great Vault UI right away, where you can collect a new Nebulous Venom Stone directly instead of getting an item. And for the first 8 weeks, that's the only way you'll be able to acquire them. After that, the free rollout will begin, where you'll get 1 each week, and this time without having to do a stack of unlock quests and a bunch of costs.
Nice.
Now, technically, this is actually a nerf because you'll be getting fewer bonus rolls across the entire season, but I think this, as an improvement to the Great Vault, more than makes up for that.
I agree.
Because, a bonus roll that's going to actually get you a legit piece of gear, that's way better than the previous consolation prizes that the Vault had. Yeah. I'd say it means the Vault finally has bad luck protection that actually feels useful. Who knows? Maybe it'll even be too strong, considering that you can use it to target specific myth items in Mythic Plus. Being able to target Biss from week 2 seems really powerful. But of course you'd be doing it in a way that asks you to take a risk on the roll. So you know what? Fair enough, Blizzard. That actually sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm good with the bonus roll system. I like it. I'm glad they're carrying it forward, and these changes are fine to me. I'm still good with it. I like the bonus rolls.
Maybe they're onto a winner with this new version of bonus rolls.
I think so.
Now, another thing you may be wondering is why they've set this guy, Orin, beside the Catalyst. And why they've done that when you usually don't go back to it after the first few weeks. Well, it turns out that's because they're changing the catalyst as well.
Ooh.
The catalyst sure was one of Shadowlands' best inventions. Not that it had many of them.
Wait a minute, it was a Shadowlands thing. That was in Zeroth Mortis. Shit, I forgot that started in Shadowlands. Hey, it's alright. Shadowlands wasn't all bad, I guess, right? It gave us the catalyst. That's right.
But still, the catalyst did a lot to solve the complete RNG of tier sets. But
I
it's
forgot
gotten
that
a
started in
little stale
Shadowlands.
since then, and Blizzard wants to spice gearing up as much as they can. So, the way things are now is that it's just as strong, but you've now got way more of a reason to use it. The major change is this. The catalyst no longer changes the secondary stats or special effect on the item that you put into it. And that's really big. Where in 12.1, all you're doing with the catalyst is adding the tier set bonus and changing the appearance.
Yeah.
That's pretty big. That means that the gear that you choose to catalyze actually matters now.
Yes, that means that special pair of boots that's got that extra cantrip thing on it, where like it gives you a shock of lightning every 20 attacks or whatever. Now you can convert that to tier gear, and it keeps that effect, making that the new biz version of your tier gear. It's going to be interesting how it works this first season with all, and I'm sure Blizzard's considering this with the items that we're going to be able to loot, but really that means there's going to be new biz versions of tier sets, where looting the tier set itself is not necessarily the best version of it, because there's items out there that will exist that'll have extra spell effects on them and stuff, that if you convert that to tier, that is the new best version of your tier set. So that's gonna be interesting.
The idea then
I think it's
is
cool.
that best in slot lists became a little bit too fixed around the tier sets, and
True, it does help
four
crafting, Mally.
slots basically just got locked out of your gearing decisions, which ended up being pretty boring, right? Once you had those worked out, any drops in those slots would be completely pointless.
Right.
That would feel pretty shitty. Now, or at least in 12.1, you can still catalyze as soon as possible to get your tier set bonus, but Blizzard wants you, if you're that type of player, to think about later replacing it with different or better stats as time goes on, which is pretty good. It means there's actually longevity to the system. Now, of course, that means we'll be using the catalyst more. And Blizzard had a plan for that. I say had because there was a whole ton of change on the PTR that they seem to have entirely went back on, where it basically looks like Blizzard planned to make bonus charges drop from the start of the season, and the Unbound achievement would exist to just increase the drop rate. And then on top of that, to even out the drop rate and make it feel a bit less feast or famine, they actually had split the charges up, so you'd be basically collecting 5 faster dropping pieces to make 1 charge,
Nice.
instead of just randomly having a whole charge drop.
Okay.
But I can see how that could all just be a little bit of faff, which in a way could be disappointing, but as much as I can see how Blizzard tried on the PTR to just make the catalyst like acquisition a little bit more like fun, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, when we're getting like half charges that we gotta combine, that just ends up being faff. So
I agree.
the way it works then for acquisition
Better.
of catalyst charges is the exact same as you already know. The big difference though is what they actually do to the gear. And I think that's the exciting bit.
Yeah, that's the better thing. Convert. Yeah, you can convert crafted to tier, can't you? As long as it's like the right slot, right? Helm, shit like that. You can convert it to tier. So I don't know what you guys are talking about. You can't convert it. I think you can. Craft wise, yeah, I hope they add a 42 more currencies. Only for 42 would not be a lot of currencies for a patch. I don't know what you're talking. Probably 142 is more accurate. That's what we're gonna get. No, you cannot. Now it has to be tracked gear right now. Yeah, so if it's tracked, can't you? What are you talking about? Sam talking out of his lawyer ass again. Hold on, I'm gonna ask. Let me see. Any okay, here. What the fuck are you guys talking about? It says it right here. It says, can you convert crafted? Yes, you can convert crafted into tier. I don't know because I haven't really interacted with the crafting system this entire season. It says you can use them. And it says, yeah, how it works. Eligible crafted items. Only crafted items, pieces that corresponds with these slots can be converted. Not eligible, these can't. Upgrade tracks. To convert crafted gear, it must be one of the upgrade tracks supported in the tier. So there are certain pieces that you can. What are you guys fucking talking about? Maybe not every piece of crafted gear, sure, but there are pieces that can be converted. Unless fucking AI is tripping, which I guess it does sometimes.
Do you know what? I can make it a bit more exciting. There's actually a secret bonus to this. You can catalyze gear for the set appearances without worrying about ruining the stats or the effects on them.
Basically, if it's locked into the item level that you crafted in, then it won't. AI is trolling you. You've never been able to convert crafted items, then it's fucking trolling. Then it's trolling. I understand crafted item level works different. I get that you gotta recraft items to up their item level, so it's not part of this system, the upgrading system. So those you can't convert. But I thought there were pieces of item that you could craft that fit the item level system, like the upgrade system. I guess I'm wrong. Yeah, what AI are you using? Grok? No, I just used Copilot.
It's pretty nice. And that'll be huge for people with embellishments on slots, like, say, crafted boots. So,
he just fucking said it. He just fucking said it. Are you guys fucking stupid? So the AI is right. He literally just said crafted boots are going to be great for converting the catalyst now. What the fuck are you guys talking about? Not in 12. Okay, but we're not talking about 12.0.5. We're talking about 12.1. The AI is Tyrone. Jesus Christ. Okay, so we're good now. So you weren't able to, but now you'll be able to. Okay, fine. So the AI is talking about 12.1. All right, there we go, I guess. Whatever. Well, I'm going to go back and hear what Bellular just said. But you guys are fucking crazy.
It's pretty nice. And that'll be huge for people with embellishments on slots, like, say, crafted boots. So, pretty damn good. And it's not the only thing, because next...
You know what? I think chat pre-watched this video because you guys knew he was going to say that.
Upgrades.
You guys are the fuckers.
Upgrades and upgrade items. So, Ascendant Venom Stones are the new upgrade item for Season 2. I know, we got our crests to do our upgrades with, but then we've also got these stones. I mean, God love any new player who comes into this game. They would be so confused. But anyway, point is, they're back, and they work pretty much the same way that last season's did. So we can expect these to start dropping on week 8, like with the bonus rolls, but Blizzard have made 2 key changes here. One is that they now work in necklaces as well, meaning that you can upgrade 4 pieces.
Nice.
Your maxed out weapon, trinkets, and neck. And obviously that goes up to 5 pieces if you're a dual wielder, because they will let you do both your weapons. Now that means, though, at some point, you're gonna have to farm out 40 or 50 Venom Stones.
Yeah.
And that is actually the second change. Instead of getting 5 shards and combining them into 1 stone, you now need to get 10 stones to do the upgrade, and there is no combine step. So basically, they've added a 0 onto the number, but in doing that, they've made it so it's just 1 item instead of you getting little mini stonelets that you've got to then turn into a full stone.
I hate those things. I hate anything that goes into my bag that I need to click to convert it into another thing. I can't stand that shit, and I don't know why Blizzard loves to do that. But it's like, oh, you're going to get 100 of these little pieces of dicks, and then you got to right-click all the little dicks to convert them into a giant dildo. Why? Just give me the giant dildo. Let me loot the giant dildo, whatever. Make it a little bit I guess it's like the drip feed of, the psychology of allowing people to collect shit constant, like they feel like they're getting closer rather than just giving them the big item towards the end. But I just hate because I forget to do it sometimes, and they sit in my bag, and I don't realize I'm collecting them, and they're taking up another bag slot. I don't know. It's like a currency within a currency. Currencyception. Blizzard loves to do that shit.
A little bit more elegant, and thankfully brainless, because if you just do heroic or mythic raid bosses, or +10 or higher keys, tier 11 bountiful delves, or nightmare prey weeklies, you'll just have them drop, so you don't really need to go
They
out
just
and
drop.
target
Good.
them.
Okay,
of course,
good.
no ritual sites this time, because ritual sites are
basically do the shit and you're gonna get the drops. Okay, do the things, do all the things, any of the things, do something in the game, and they're gonna drop. That's how it's gonna work. Ascendant Void Course. Or now they're going to be called Ascendant Venom Stones
from the previous
for your
season.
upgrades.
And yes, I can confirm that the side content
Pushing up
added
the
in
item
the
level.
0.5 and 0.7 patches of Midnight are not being updated. Not that we really expected them to be, but I don't know. I feel a little sad that they're only relevant for like 8 weeks. Feels like a bit of a waste, like an endless conveyor belt of content. Or is it slop? Or is it slop wrapped up in rewards that feels like content? Who knows? Of course, the role that the 0.5 and 0.7 patch content played will be replaced by whatever they've got cooked up for patch 12.15 and 12.17.
I can't wait for Labyrinths. I think that was a really cool thing Blizzard revealed that we just really haven't heard any. Look at this article date. What is this? What, 129? January? Jesus. I mean, they haven't talked about Labyrinths in forever. Forever. So we really haven't got any updates other than their giant delve dungeons, but I think they're going to be really cool when we do finally get them.
And we know there is stuff there. Remember, they announced Labyrinths, which basically seem to be the equivalent of mega dungeons for delves, which does actually sound really cool.
They
I
do
wouldn't
sound
even
cool.
be surprised if their hardest mode dropped myth gear, maybe even a bit more than, say, heroic world tier.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Torghast a little bit, which is going to make people kind of cringe, I'm sure, like, oh my god, why are they bringing Torghast back? Well, it won't be required. That's the cool thing about it. Torghast had its cool things to it, and if you remember your first time going into Torghast, I'm sure if you get past all the freaking PTSD that comes with that fucking system, you'll remember the first couple of times you did it was really fun. And it was cool, and the power-ups and everything, and you're going through it, and you're doing the challenge. I thought it was pretty fun at first. Labyrinths kind of reminds me of that, but it's like it's saving your lockouts, too. So you're advancing through these things, and as you go through the wings, it kind of saves it. So you spend the entire week, like, clearing this thing out. I think it'll be kind of fun.
Up dropping. So, that is gearing. There's actually quite a lot that's the same, but also quite a lot that has changed. If I haven't mentioned something, then it hasn't changed, and all of your prior information is still up to date. I'd say, though, Blizzard have clearly been trying to work out what endgame's rhythm actually is, and I think that the bonus rolls were undoubtedly a big success for them. And these changes look like they're adding more decision-making at each step of your gearing process. Maybe slowing it down a little bit, but making sure that you've always got something to work toward at all times.
Yeah.
Now, I know if you're a Mythic Pluser, you might be thinking, yeah, I mean, I could just do dungeons forever and always have progress. But for us Raiders, it's actually a pretty big change. So I'm looking forward to it. But if you want to look forward to something else, maybe even a Warcraft Netflix, well, check out this video on what may be the largest leak in Warcraft franchise history. That's a really big claim, but
your boy talked about this already.
Appear to be warranted.
Yeah, no, he's not lying about that Netflix thing. It sounds cool. I talked about that. I got my own video about it. But overall, Mally, thank you for the sub, man. Overall, a lot of great changes.
Ready and willing.
Good.
The relentless soak in Saramantha's cope about Laura always winning.
Look, we're going to get Lura. The good thing is, going forward, and the new loot system that Bellular talked about, killing Lura and bitches like her will be much easier as we continue to gear out with our myth track gear from Heroic Raid. I think that's such a great change coming to the vault. I'm very excited about it. I think overall the gearing changes throughout Midnight. If you remember, we even got rid of like Flight Stones and all that Valor Stones, all that other stupid ass shit. That's gone. I think a lot of the changes Blizzard has made, bonus rolls and everything, have been really, really good. And I look forward to what we continue to get here. Nice video from Bellular. Nice changes to gearing coming from Blizzard.